This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity. With Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance, it keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Fan.
Russo Radio. Michael Russo covers the Minnesota Wild, writes about the NHL, covers the Stanley Cup for The Athletic and theathletic.com. Russo Radio, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Russo, a staple in the state of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota is the state of hockey, so it's good to be a staple in the state of hockey. Why were you in Milan?
NHL media tour. So
in Milan, Italy.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the Olympics are there, so that's why they had it there. And, so it's sort of an Olympics appetizer. I think 27 or 28 NHLers. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll actually be in Vegas for the North American version of the same thing.
Yeah, you've been to Vegas 500 times.
And the list of players that we're getting there are crazy. And
well, that's
40
great.
Guys.
So what's Milan like?
Milan
I want to
cool.
go to Italy.
Yeah, Milan was cool. It's funny because before this, I was only there for 3 days, 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I came back about a day early than I expected. I was like one of those. I was in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep.
Food poisoning?
And called Delta and changed my flight to like 4 hours later, which I don't think a lot of people do. Like,
why'd you do that?
I just couldn't sleep.
Homesick?
There's no reason for me to stay tomorrow other than I was going to sightsee type thing.
Okay.
Are you a Delta One guy? Or
I was on this trip. So Milan was cool. So my previous times in Milan were just like hourly. Like I was in there for a couple hours.
You've been to Milan multiple times.
Yeah, but not like anything more than a day. So I had a couple really nice dinners and and sat down with Gus Philip Gustafson. Yesterday I was in Detroit, suburban Detroit. Actually, where the Live Golf, the resort that I was at where the Live Golf Championship just was.
Why did you qualify with suburban Detroit? Because of the stereotype?
No.
Well, no, because like I go to Detroit every year with the football team to play the Lions, and the Greektown area of Detroit is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, I qualified it because you said to me, I didn't know you were in Detroit because, and then you brought up how do we use date lines, and I said, well, no, I was actually in Plymouth, Michigan, so that's why the date line on my Heinz today was that. So I sat down with a bunch of, we have a big Patrick Kane story I'm writing for tomorrow. Sat down with Tage Thompson, sat down with Mike Sullivan, the coach. So it was the U.S. Olympic orientation camp.
Hold on quickly. Young lady, You found a place you can hold that sign up, and that's okay. Yeah, that's you. You can hold that sign up, and we're completely fine with that. Anyway, why were you in Spain?
Spain was the Lepanto Russo annual summer excursion, so that was fun. About 25 of my closest friends, all Wild fans. It was a really awesome trip. Went to Barcelona, went to Madrid, went to this incredible monastery up on the mountain. That was sweet. So that was fun. So yeah, it's been a summer of travel, and we'll see. We'll see. I got a couple more trips still up my sleeve before training camp.
Yeah, and training camp is on the horizon. Michael Russo, at Russo Hockey via Twitter, at Russo Hockey via the X Machine, if you would like to follow, like 200,000 other people do. Are you going to crush a ton of food today at the State Fair?
No, I'll probably go to the Turkey on the Go stand. I love the sandwiches there, but I'm not a big State Fair. I can't say I probably would love it, but I've done a good job of my 20 years coming here of avoiding most places. So I am not, like I was just talking to Nordo about it. It's I don't know. There's just something about it that I know it's not super hot now, but I just cannot imagine just, it's like some fried something, just eating it in 95 degrees. Yeah. It just, so nothing really appeals to me that way.
Yeah, but see, these people are the crafty of all crafty.
Yeah.
Because they get here at 7 or 8 in the morning, then they eat as much as they want. They leave at 1 or 2, and then doze that off or chill that off until 5, 6, or 7 and have an evening.
Yeah, and as you know, I like real time gain weight. So like and so I just I do my best to try to avoid it. So let's put it that way.
Here we are at Russo Hockey, once again via X or The Athletic, theathletic.com.
I just saw the sign you were referring to 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, seeing the way I can get out of that is, if anybody wants to push me on it, is I was talking about Wes.
Yes, exactly.
I was talking about Wes.
He's a big liar.
Anyway, so 3-2. We're all refreshing your X feed, wondering when the Kaprizov news is going to pop. Are you kidding me with this? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's not close. They've offered him a boatload of money. I think north of, significantly more than $15 million a year on an 8-year deal, and somehow he has not jumped at signing a $128 million deal or so yet. So I think that when he gets back here in 9 or 10 days, I think Bill Guerin wants to meet with him face to face. Maybe Bill. I think he's coming on with you in the next couple of days. Coming on tomorrow.
Who?
Or Bill
Hines.
John
Hines tomorrow.
So yeah, Hines might not want to talk about it, but Bill.
He's going to join Barrero at some point. I believe.
Yeah, I think Bill's coming tomorrow to talk to Barrero, and we'll see how forthcoming he is. But right now, it's not done, and they've offered him a ton of money. For somebody that missed 41 games last season, if it were me, I would take that in a second. But so far, it hasn't been done. I don't know yet if we have to be concerned. But if we're suddenly at opening night and he hasn't signed that, I think it means that he's not ready to commit 8 years of his life. So we'll see what he wants. I mean, maybe he just wants to go shorter term, and if that's the case. If I'm Bill, I do whatever he wants. If he wants a 5-year deal, I do it. If he wants a 3-year deal, I do it.
Right.
Remember, he's got 1 year left, so it's 3 years.
I ain't doing a 3-year deal with him.
Yeah, but
no.
Russo Radio.
But part of me also says, it's kind of like McDavid. McDavid's only willing to do a sort of a 3, 4, 5-year deal too, and this
but didn't he just come off of like a decade-long deal or something crazy?
Well, no, but I think that I think he wants to do it because he wants to know if he wants to spend the rest of his career in Edmonton, and that's a team that's gone to the Stanley Cup Final 2 years in a row. So, if I'm Kaprizov, you might want to say to Bill, hey, build me a contender. And so you sign for short term rather than 8 years.
I mean, that's holding the team hostage a little bit. You don't want to be that guy either.
I don't think so.
That's having it both ways.
Yeah.
Is 3 and 5 and whatever, you, if you don't do this, I'm out.
No, but I think that what he's doing is saying, at 29 years old, when this deal kicks in, I'm willing to give you 3 years of my life. But right now, this team has not proven yet that it's able to go on a long run. And so if you sign for 8 years, who knows if that happens when there's so many 31 other teams that you could potentially sign for. But if you sign for 3, at least it gives you that opportunity to go somewhere and try to win if nothing comes into fruition in the next 3 or 4 years here. So this is the way I feel. I actually think a 3 or 4 year deal, as much as fans might not like it and as much as the organization might like it, I actually think it's good for the fans because that now what Kaprizov is saying to the organization is build a supporting cast around me, because I think that the majority of Wild fans who have now rooted this team on and been passionate about this team for 25 years are tired of watching everybody else, especially those in Florida, win cups every year. And I think they want to win some cups. And so I actually think that's a good thing for the fans if Kirill is, if that's the way he goes. I don't know that is the way he goes. His agent is
I see what you're saying.
Is a piece of work a bit. And I think that's probably also one reason why Billy wants to meet with Kirill face to face.
Yeah.
So a conversation in the summer, chains are coming off, buyouts are gone, etc. This new world is opening up financially for the Minnesota Wild. And if, maybe it's a shorter term deal, but at least moving forward, whether it's at the trade deadline next summer, does Billy G have the tools and the flexibility to show Kirill via additions and via tinkering with this roster to show the Russian kid that he's for real and we will build a contender.
That's Bill's goal here is to accrue enough space that he can go out and make a significant supporting cast role. So there's whether it's maybe a couple Buffalo Sabres that are like enough is enough, get me the heck out of here, going after them. Maybe it's Panarin, maybe it's whoever. Right. That's his goal is to, he has not been in position the last 4 years to go out and try to get that big fish. Now he can. He resisted this offseason of going out and overspending for the wrong type of player. So he's left himself a little bit of flexibility here. And if they're healthy this year, maybe this is the season to go make that trade. Maybe it's waiting for free agency. I'm not naive enough because next year right now, there's a ton of free agents available. Obviously, Kirill and McDavid potentially. Eichel, Connor, Panarin. I mean, there's a lot of different guys. So, if 1 or 2 of those guys don't re-sign, maybe you go after them. Maybe you try to make a trade in season with another team that is going to move one of those type of players. And Alex Tuch, if all of a sudden Tage Thompson's like, get me the heck out of here in Buffalo. So I think that's the goal by Billy. Obviously, nobody could foresee the future and as we saw this past offseason, they had a lot of wants this offseason. And all the guys that they were interested in, from Brock Nelson to Claude Giroux to John Tavares, all re-signed with their teams. So you can't predict whether or not these guys are actually going to become UFA, but I think the whole goal here is to have some flexibility that they can go out and eventually pounce on the big name.
So to land the plane with this topic, hit us with the problemometer. Like on there's not a 10 and there's not a 0. So when it comes to, is there a problem here, where would you put it 1 to 9?
Honestly, I don't even know if I can answer the question because I think that we have to see what happens after Billy meets with Kirill. If all of a sudden nothing is done in the next couple weeks after that, they've got a problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was just curious, I have to admit, and following your work and others that report on this, I never even considered it was so much put in my face. Well, they can offer him the most. Mm-hmm. They can offer him the most term. They can ultimately, and because of that, maybe offer him the most dollars. I never foresaw it kind of coming back to a stage where actually the money doesn't matter, and a shorter term might be part of the conversation.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, let's put it this way: if he doesn't take this deal, I don't think he wants to be here. If he doesn't take any deal, certainly, because I know. Billy obviously has all the information much more than I do, but I know that they are offering him significantly more than even I thought a year ago would be something they'd even consider. Like, I think this is the type of contract that's the Wild sign. There's going to be a lot of players in the league, let alone teams, that are going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking significantly more than Leon Draisaitl, who's an absolute stud. It might change the dynamic of what McDavid gets, even if all of a sudden Kirill's signing for $16 million.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the reality.
Yeah.
Is that Kirill, at 29 years old, he wants to win.
Yeah.
And so we'll see where it goes.
All right.
The one thing I will tell you is that when I talked to Bill Guerin about it, he continues to voice incredible optimism and confidence that they're going to get this done.
Okay. Well, that seems to be the metaphorical price of the proverbial poker game, right?
Right.
But comparatively speaking, is he worth it?
I I don't know. The age makes me worried, especially that's the other thing. 8 years for somebody that's truly hurt more and more often. Yes. It feels like that just missed half a year with a type of injury that was probably caused by something else that could come down the pike, hips or something like that. Mm-hmm. I'd be concerned to give him 8 years. If Kirill comes here and says I'll sign for 5, I actually think that's a great deal for the Wild. And because there's risk on both sides if suddenly you sign him. Could you imagine you sign him to 8 years, 16, and then he's just chronically hurt for the next 8 years? Now you're getting into more and more issues. So I actually think that's a good thing. But we'll see where it goes.
Marco Rossi and the 3-year piece, which I believe you tweeted or wrote, is good for both sides. Yep. See a story. You can find that story at The Athletic.
Joe Smith actually wrote it. But
Joe Smith, thank you. And I'm playing off the postseason last year and the quirky nature of the way he was used. Mm-hmm. Is he a Bill Guerin kind of player, or how would you qualify Marco Rossi's game?
Well, he surely is for the next 3 years. I mean, I don't think you give anybody for $5 million a year unless you actually do believe in the player. The question is whether or not you could believe that as a top 2 center that you're going to go out and win a cup with him. I think the Wild still have doubts on whether that could be. But what this does is it buys both sides times. He can sort of continue to excel and put himself in a position, whether it's here or somewhere else, to go out and get that huge contract when he's still a year from unrestricted free agency, or it gives them even time to maybe move him, at a pretty reasonable contract, in my opinion. So I think it was a good side for both good deal for both teams. I think that Marco realizes that they're not paying him $5 million unless he's going to continue to be a top 6 forward for the next 3 years.
It's a forward paying deal, don't you think?
Absolutely. And so it's a good little reconcile after a real tough summer where I think Marco had some feeling hurts. One thing when I sat down with John Hines yesterday, and I'm sure he'll tell you this on the show tomorrow, is that he texted Marco right after the deal was done, and within 2 minutes, Marco called back, and they had a great conversation. So I think, look, there's always disagreements and usage at times in a player's career. Obviously, Marco was stung by being put on the 4th line in the playoffs, but life goes on. I've covered many players, veterans and young players that all sit there and at times you're not happy with the coach or vice versa, and you always sort of get over it.
Was there any element to it where at some point he's kind of on the trade block, or at least he was part of the conversation? Hey, this is a piece. This is an option for a team, by the way, that actually wants to upgrade and get better maybe in the center spot, so the trickiness there. In some ways, was this potentially a consolation of what maybe was found or not found out in the market in the end? Well, we still have Rossi. That's a thing that we can still utilize, so then a deal is consummated.
What's really ironic about this whole thing is that when the Wild were unable to upgrade really at center in free agency, they obviously got Nico Sturm, which is a big upgrade on the 4th line. But to go out and get a Brock Nelson or a Tavares or something like that, it really put a little bit of leverage on Marco's side because he knew that they needed him. But conversely, I think the fact that Marco was not able to get an offer sheet, in large part because so many teams don't want to give up a first-round pick in compensation because they have a chance, they think, if they're bad, to get Gavin McKenna, and you can't lottery protect that. But also the fact that I think Marco knew that on the trade front, that the Wild were not getting very appetizing deals, so maybe he over sort of inflated what he thought his value was. Sure. I think that put leverage back on the Wild side. Okay. So I think that at the end of the day they make a fair contract, but I think the Wild knew that I think the Wild had this information around the league that he was not as wanted as maybe Marco thought.
Right. And Marco's here. We want Marco to play out of his mind for this squad. The money's good. Does this term though on this deal potentially make it easier if a trade situation was to arise, because now we're not worried about end of term and having to, new teams plus draft currency and then having to negotiate. Now we kind of have that set baseline value of them that might make a move easier in the future.
Yeah, it's a very tradable contract if they need it. He's got no trade protection because he's ineligible for that. You can't get that until you're buying out UFA years, which he's not a UFA until potentially 2029. So, absolutely. But if he continues to produce at the level he is on a team that needs that, he's probably not somebody that Bill Guerin's going to be looking anytime soon.
And we're going to love him. And we're going to love him.
Yeah, exactly. And now a lot could depend on if Danilo Yurov pops. A lot could depend on what else comes down the pike. If all of a sudden, let's say he could trade or acquire a Tage Thompson or a top center, then you look to maybe move Marco then. But right now, the way their personnel is, I don't think that we're going to see him moved until they get a clear upgrade.
Vladimir Tarasenko.
Yeah.
And we're quite familiar with him in this part of the country, in this division, whether it's him or Jamie Benn, who I don't believe plays for the Blues anymore, but like when he did, was it Ben? No, it was Jaden Schwartz.
Jaden Schwartz. He's on Seattle now.
Holy cow. I mean, he and Tarasenko and a couple others just used to murder the Wild in the biggest times.
Petrangelo, was he in St. Louis at one point?
Yep.
So with
all those guys.
With Tarasenko, last year with the Wings, he played 14 minutes and change a game. And that is the fewest since his rookie year with St. Louis, which was like 2012. What do we get? I mean, is it skeletal remains of Vladimir Tarasenko or what?
Well, that's a good question. I know that Hines went down a couple weeks ago to meet with him in Florida. He spent 5 hours at Tarasenko's house. His wife put on a feast, sent him home with leftovers and all that stuff. But the one thing that they had to do, they had a good chance is to meet for a couple hours, just Vladdy and him together, and really discuss on some of the things that maybe didn't go right the last couple of years. And so right away, they're going to put him in an incredible position to succeed right from day one of camp. I think he's going to start with Marco Rossi and Matt Boldy on the line. And then, look, if he can't produce with those type of players, then maybe it is the beginning of the end of his career. But he's only 33 years old. We'll see. He has definitely looked to me like a player that is on the decline 3 years in a row where he's averaged 17 goals compared to being a one-time 40-goal scorer and 6-time scorer that used to just murder the Wild in the playoffs. So
is that injuries, or is it, hey, finally got over the hump, won a cup, and now we're kind of chilling a little bit. We're having fun.
Yeah, I think
it's a fair question.
Yeah, I think it's injuries. I don't think it's anything motivation-wise. I mean, he's always in great shape and all that stuff. But look,
this is a stark down. I mean, you kind of played it, statistically and just kind of what you're seeing. I'm feeling like this is kind of a jump off a cliff territory.
Yeah.
In terms of Tarasenko 3-4 years ago and Tarasenko now.
No doubt. I mean, he has definitely fallen down. But last year he was a guy that didn't play a ton of minutes with great guys. He was more of a third liner there. It just didn't work clearly in Detroit. But because he was in Detroit, I can't say that I watched every single game of his, but it definitely feels like that Father Time is starting to catch up with him. And we'll know, because again, if you can't produce with Matt Boldy, and can't keep up with a guy like Matt Boldy. Like I saw Boldy the last couple days in Detroit. He looks like he is ready to rock. And we know the way that he played in the playoffs and down the stretch last season. So we'll see. But he's going to play with a great center in Marco Rossi that could point, produce, and all that type of stuff.
That's Michael Russo. Russo Radio, 9 to noon, at Russo Hockey via the tweet machine if you would like to follow. A final segment with Michael is around the corner from the State Fair on KFAN.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels and white cheddar beer cheese. Or you can spice things up and try some unexpected combinations, like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit. And push your gameplay beyond limits with Intel Core Ultra processors. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel Inside. Maximize your edge by shopping at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Another segment with Russo Radio into the penultimate on this beautiful Thursday from the State Fair. This is 9 to noon, part of the vast and ever-expanding 9 to noon audio network, which is part of KFAN and the iHeart Audio vast and ever-expanding network. Okay, 3-2. With Michael Russo at Russo Hockey via X. There's been a question, once I learned you were going to be in the mix, that has been kind of burning with me the last week and change. Why don't you take as many selfies as Anthony LaPanta, the Wild play-by-play voice on TV?
You've seen my face. It's not selfie built.
On.
Well, he does. I mean, he does a lot of selfies. You're included in a lot of them, you know?
Yeah. That's usually the only time I will take a selfie if he's like, here, Russo, let's take a selfie. And then you never know what he's going to do with it. So yeah, I'm not a big selfie.
LaPanta guy? Oh. Keep going.
I'm not a big, you know what's funny is he used to be like make fun of everybody like with social media. And now he just it's selfies, and pictures of food, and him on the golf course.
So you're saying he's two-faced.
So, you know, it's just, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying that he's,
I got it.
It's a bit hypocritical.
I understand. The Wild, is the Wild turning a corner from a playoff team to a team that wins in the playoffs?
I think that was the most disappointing part of last year's postseason. Is I thought they were better than Vegas, easily could have won that series, and you just can't, for the rest of time, say, "Well, we came closer, we're learning, it felt different."
Yeah,
it's either different or it felt different, and felt different is unacceptable to me. And what was so disappointing about last year is that if they won Game 5, they probably win the series, and to have it, you know, that game turn around based on such a sloppy offsides play by Gus Nyquist, a veteran that should know better. It's real disappointing. And so I do think they're close to turning a corner, but until you do it, you know, fans aren't going to accept that. Like, the organization keeps on telling you like it felt different, but it wasn't different.
Right.
So.
It was a snowflake. It's still a snowflake, but they're all different, but they're the same.
At the end of the day, 4 rounds later, you're watching somebody else win the cup.
Right.
And which is not very fun. Now, if Kirill is the thrill, will Danila be the thriller, or will Danila be vanilla? What do we think?
So that's a great question. I'm actually working on a big story with Danila right now. I had the opportunity the day before I went to Milan, out of the blue. It was arranged for me that I can go to Stamford, Connecticut to sit down with him. So talk about hectic. I flew
Between that and suburban Detroit.
Milan, Spain, and Stamford.
It was crazy. So I flew to Newark, drove an hour and a half to Stamford in traffic, met with him, spent the day with him, and then flew back to get to my flight here to go to Milan the next day.
Yeah.
And so I got to spend a lot of time with him. Had 3 or 4 different interviews with him, and what was funny is it felt like his English was getting better with every interview. It was hilarious. Like the last interview, it was just him and I conversing almost fluently. So I got to watch him skate with a bunch of NHL guys like the Chris Kreiders and the Adam Foxes. In fact, I saw both of them yesterday in Detroit and
of course you
a couple
did.
days ago, and they were.
Let me guess.
They were also talking about how good this kid's going to be. And I got to watch him work out. And so. Here's the deal. Nobody seems to know yet what he could be. Watching him on the ice in summer hockey, he looks like a heck of a player, but it's summer hockey. Until we see him in training camp. So I think the organization's sort of in the same boat as they don't know. He obviously had a little bit of a slip back this year in terms of production compared to 2 years ago when he broke all of Vladimir Tarasenko's records for an under 20-year-old there. And so... But he was dealing with injuries, so we just don't know. And then you don't know how he's going to immediately adjust to the NHL. Remember when Kaprizov came, he was basically almost 24 years old, but he was an absolute superstar. We all knew that he had superstar potential. Nobody seems to know yet if Durov is going to be a star, a top 6 forward, a middle 6 forward. We just don't know. So there's going to be probably adjustments that he's going to need to make. He's way younger than Kirill was when he came over here. So I think fans that probably got their expectations up watching Kirill need to also realize that. And so we'll see. They're going to sort of slow play him in camp. They're going to give him a lot of exhibition games, and then we'll see how he does. And right now, right now he is not in the top 6 going to camp. But as Hines said to me in the Q&A that I had with him today in The Athletic, when he was in New Jersey, they came in with the same plan for guys like Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier, and then right away you just knew that they were ready. And so we'll see. Maybe he starts at center, maybe he starts at wing. So the jury is out, but fans need to sort of, and media need to sort of
temper.
Their expectations. It's sort of similar with Z Boyum and Brock Faber. We saw Brock Faber come here, and he was freaking NHL ready. Boyum's 19 years old. He's going to have growing pains no matter his skill level. Mm-hmm. And so just because we saw Brock immediately, they're different people. This isn't a computer game.
Yeah.
So just because Brock was able to immediately assimilate to becoming an NHL player right off the hop and look incredible doing it, doesn't necessarily mean that Zeev is just going to be immediately like that, especially being 2 years younger than Brock was when he made his NHL debut.
All right, so with Faber, I don't think it's fatalistic I don't think it's too gloomy to say, hey, you know what? I'm not an elite hockey mind. I never played it. I'll never know as much as Russo Radio. But I think I know what an athlete looks like when he's tired.
Uh-huh.
And Faber, circumstantially speaking, because of injuries and stuff, the minutes he played at the end of the year, then in the postseason, he's a machine. He's high end. Nobody can do that over a long period of time. So do you think that comes back a little bit this year?
I think their hope is that, but look, Brodin's going to miss the start of the season, a couple of weeks probably with his injury. And you have 2 rookies in Juracek and Boyum. Mm-hmm. You have Zach Bogosian, who obviously is up there in age now. You have Jack Johnson, who's on a PTO that's definitely in the twilight of his career.
What's you wrote about that? What's
a pro tryout?
Tryout.
So essentially, he doesn't have a contract. He's got to make the team. They do. They'll probably give him $7.75, but he's at the end of his career.
I know he was with Columbus a couple of times and all over the place. The Jack Johnson for the LA Kings. He was the bomb.
Yeah,
Holy
he was.
Cow. What was that, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I know. And he's really excited about being here. Obviously played, at Shattuck with Crosby.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, and I guess to my point with Faber is that, they'd love to take a little step back, but a lot of it's going to depend on injuries and usage of those other guys. And they're not, you could theoretically say that, with a couple rookies in your lineup, you're going to need Brock to play a lot of minutes.
Jack Johnson played with the Avs a couple of seasons ago. Mm-hmm. Are the Avalanche in bounce back mode, or despite having Nathan McKinnon facing, potentially a little bit of a dissension?
I think that they've a long time since losing Kadri in cap crunch, hell, They have had trouble replacing that. They tried Middlestad. They obviously acquired Brock Nelson last year. They weren't able to pass the first round against a very good Dallas team. But Brock has re-signed. He still has a lot of game left in him. So we'll see. I don't think, when you have Cale Makar and you have Landeskog back and you have, Natchez there now and you have obviously the Nate Dogg, Nathan McKinnon, I don't think that you're going to not just suddenly make the playoffs. So they always seem to figure it out there.
That Rantanen situation in the postseason, that's age-old hockey immortality.
That was crazy.
Bouncing the team that traded you within months.
And playing as well as he did later in that series. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't think that there were a lot of players too happy with that.
Lastly, the Athletic, led by Joe Smith and Michael Russo, I don't know if you put this together or if it's done. I'm just going to frame it up like this. How is the all-time Wild team coming together? You and Joe Smith are combined.
Yeah, we haven't done a lot of legwork yet, but that will be coming here in the next couple of weeks. I know we had like 25,000 votes. In fact, I'll probably send out the Google Doc again for fans to vote. Okay. We also are going to have a panel. John Krasinski says he wants to be on that panel. Top. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I know Brandon Molesky we might put on the panel.
Oh yeah,
what
about
McTocket? Perfect guy. McTocket. Maybe Wesley Walls.
Yeah.
Although my only concern about putting Walls on is that he could very likely be on the team.
Exactly.
So I don't know if you want that.
Let me ask you this:
maybe definitely a Lunani, a Bomber.
But with this bit, is it full team? 4 lines and 3 D pairings, couple of goalies.
Yes. So the way
I was trying to write some down last
So the
night.
way we are going to do it is that the fans are picking their top 4 lines, top 4 in each. So, but you might have a great left wing as your 4th line left wing, just based the way that we're doing it with the fans.
Yeah.
But the reason why we also want this panel is that we're not going to give them a list. So maybe a Derek Bugard winds up on the 4th line of one of these players or something like that. So. The panel list will look, their individual teams will look very different than what the fans eventually choose.
Okay. Well, I mean, Parisi, Suter, Koivu, Spurgeon. I mean, they're definitely in the chat, right?
100%.
Kaprizov, Pierre-Marc Bouchard.
Yeah, I would think.
Andrew Brunette.
Yes.
I mean, so that's just part of the work. You got to do the rest of the work at the Athletic. And goalie, top of the head, Backstrom?
Yeah, that's who I would probably choose. I mean, obviously you have Rolison and Manny. Devin Dubnyk had a fabulous career here. Saved their season in 2015.
What about
Backstrom
coach?
is still the all-time. I mean, we're not
coach?
doing coach, but I mean, it's hard not to pick Jacques. But then there is only one coach that led this team past the first round twice, and that's Mike Yeo.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that'd be one.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I know.
That's
What was your Yo joke all the time?
No, it was 3 in a row for Mike Yo. 3 in a row for Mike Yo.
Yep.
See you, brother.
And Mike used to love coming on with you. I know that. Boudreaux obviously loved coming on and things like that. But to me, Mike Yo and Jacques Lemaire still are probably the most successful coaches in Wild history.
Speaking of goaltenders, to close, we have about 2 minutes. You get it all. And I've never asked you this, and I have all your albums, read all your stories, follow all your tweets. What was it, now that it's done, what was it like covering Marc-Andre Fleury?
Oh, it was incredible. I thought you were going to ask about Stalock for some reason.
Why, what do you mean?
I thought you were going to ask what it's like to cover Stalock.
He was at the fair yesterday.
I know. That's why it was on my...
What, does he have a booth?
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, he was at the fair yesterday, and he offered to bring something over, and
never came?
Well, I might not have responded. I might have forgotten.
It was incredible covering Flower. I mean, I was a huge fan of him. I've known him for a long, long time, and he was just seeing the way that he treats everybody, from the media to the fans to his teammates to the staff. He's just as class act as you get, and it was really cool to watch him in a Wild uniform set so many milestones, whether it's passing Patrick Waugh for second all time and 1,000 games and 1,000 starts and all that stuff. I mean, just the way that he loved playing for this team, wanted to play for this team, and the fact that he's now here, like he is retiring here in Minnesota, and being part of the organization. So Bill is going to integrate him into the organization the way that he's done so many guys like Derek Stepan, Alex Goligoski the last couple of years. He's going to sort of get a feel for everything around. I was talking to Philip Gustafson, though, in Vegas, in Milan the other day, and he's a little worried that now that Mark is going to have all this time on his hands when the guys are on the ice, that he's going to have freedom, walk around the locker room, and just prank after prank after prank.
All right,
that'd be the only concern.
Lastly, 45 seconds, you get it all. Your podcast with Gus Bus. How did it go, and what resonates still?
I mean, still the big thing that we talked about is whether or not he wants to sign an extension here. That's something I think that Bill Guerin is going to try to do here in the next couple of weeks, is maybe at least talk to him and gauge what he's looking for and things like that. So that was the big thing. You could get that on the Talk North site or War Seats in the House on Apple. But we talked for, I think, a half hour, maybe 25 minutes.
Right.
And, he's always a good person to talk to, funny. He's got so many idiosyncrasies that come across on this pod as well.
Yep. You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, PA.
Michael Russo, ladies and gentlemen. Russo Radio. Final segment, 9 to noon for this Thursday from the fair is next.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese. Or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Talk about stepping up. It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit. And push your gameplay beyond limits with Intel Core Ultra processors. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel Inside. Maximize your edge by shopping at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Again.
Anything new with the purple pop up on the doom scrolling machine during all of the hockey, basketball, and Sky Yuma related conversations?
Well, I haven't. I follow, of course, one of our favorites, Alec Lewis, The Athletic, and I'm just seeing it's kind of. There's a little bit, if you're a rube, if you're a fan like I am, an adult child, if you will, Just kind of following Carson Wentz introductory presser today.
Oh.
And he's pumped walking the halls of Egan and seeing the pictures of the players that he grew up loving.
Well, I think Kwesi Adofo-Mensah actually is talking right now.
And then Adam Thielen was speaking just kind of about the trade and the logistics, or at least whatever he's able or willing to share.
Yeah.
In terms of that. So, but yes, and it may be that just from a timing standpoint that Kwesi's actually speaking as we are speaking.
Yeah.
Because I've seen absolutely nothing else in terms of the purple this morning. Which leads me to believe by the time Kwesi's done, we're going to have some things during the feast tomorrow to kind of chew on with Churchill.
Well, with the Adam Thielen trade that took place right at the beginning of 9 to noon yesterday, it was celebrated here at the Great Minnesota Get Together, and understandably so. And it's still celebrated by yours truly and us. But as the day goes on, you just, at least I start thinking about what things can look like when the team heads to Chicago for Monday Night Football. And, with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, let's just use those two for now, with TJ Hawkinson, the running game, and JJ McCarthy and the Minnesota Moving Company and the whole thing, is like I'm not, I'm faith over fear guy. So I don't come at it with where do I need to be scared. But I do think it is fair to come at things with, I like a lot of things here. Where are some potential problem points, specifically when things are new? With Carson Wentz, given the fact that, with all due respect, we don't think he's going to play. So therefore, I haven't put a lot of thought into that. With Thielen at age 35, at that stage of careers, you need to be careful with the injuries.
Yep.
You need to be careful with the little hamstrings popping up and the groins and the feet and stuff like that. And that's a common thread with the Minnesota Vikings with their biggest moves this offseason. Offensive lineman Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, defensive lineman Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and now Adam Thielen, where there are players who missed games en masse last year. And now, that was last year. This is this year. I'm not afraid that it's going to happen again, and they're going to lose all of them. But nevertheless, it does bear some thought.
Yeah, and just from a Thielen in particular standpoint, too, whether it's soft tissue stuff, I think we had one little stretch, mostly reliable when he was here the first time, where I think that was hamstring related. He misses the 7 games a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so, I feel like I think he's going to be productive, and I'm excited about that connection. But it does kind of lend me down the road of you're going to have to play that with kick gloves a little bit in terms of making sure that he's fresh, not just for the 3 games that Addison's out, but certainly for the totality of 2025. And he's one of a handful, like you said, the guys we're watching from a health standpoint.
Devin, thank you very much. Excellent work as usual. Eric Nordquist produces 9 to noon, and I'm Paul Allen. Thank you very much for taking in 9 to noon. Stick around for the program. May God bless all of you, and have a wonderful day at the State Fair. Bye.
We got 'em. Good
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
The day begins at the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club at Boston Logan Airport. You get the clam chowder. In San Diego, it's tostadas. New York, espresso martini. It's 10 a.m. Why not? It's the quiet before your next flight, the shower that resets your day, the menu that lets you know where you are. This is access to over 1,300 airport lounges and every Sapphire Lounge by the club. And one card that gets you in. Chase Sapphire Reserve, the most rewarding card.
Learn more at chase.com/Sapphire Reserve. Cards issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval.
Fox One is now live. It's the new way to stream all your Fox favorites all in one place. That means NFL Sundays and college football games, breaking news with the Fox voices you trust, and your favorite shows streamed as they happen so nothing gets spoiled. With Fox One, you get it all live. Edge-of-your-seat plays, jaw-dropping moments, and that feeling like you're right there in the action. Start your 7-day trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, we live for live. Streaming now.
Come on. Why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.